Today is Friday, November 1st. What to know about another controversial comment in the race for the White House. This time it was about women. And how one battleground state is already ground zero for election fraud claims, even before any ballots have been counted. Also, what the newest numbers show about inflation. Plus, why the number of triplets is down in the U.S., how ChatGPT is taking on Google in a new way. And we've got your reminder about the time change happening this weekend. Those stories and even more news to know coming up. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. With just a few days left in the presidential race, both campaigns are speaking directly to women voters. And in doing so, they're sparking more controversy. For example, at a rally this week, former President Donald Trump promised to protect women, quote, whether the women like it or not. It came in the context of discussing crime from undocumented immigrants. And Trump's campaign defended the comment, saying no one should take issue with Trump helping women. But Vice President Kamala Harris says it's bigger than that, and that Trump was implying women don't have the ability to make decisions about their own lives. She also brought it back to reproductive issues that have already been center stage in this election cycle, with talk about former President Trump's role in overturning Roe v. Wade. Later, she pointed to Trump saying he would put Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in charge of women's health. The Trump campaign hit back, highlighting a comment not from Harris, but from her supporter, billionaire Mark Cuban, for insulting the intelligence of women close to the former president. Recent polls have shown Harris has a slight edge over Trump when it comes to women, and Trump seems to have the edge with men. But overall, this still seems to be a very close race, especially in battleground states. So that's where the candidates are going to be in this final stretch of the campaign. Today, former President Trump is headed to Michigan, while Vice President Harris goes back to Wisconsin. And they're bringing in more star power, too. Yesterday, Harris was joined by singer and actress Jennifer Lopez. Today, it's rapper Cardi B. And earlier this week, Trump got support from retired NFL quarterback Brett Favre. Even before any ballots have been counted, there's talk of voter fraud in one critical swing state. Videos circulating on social media question the integrity of the presidential election in Pennsylvania. They say things about non-U.S. citizens being allowed to vote, that some legitimate voters are getting turned away from voting sites, and more. Even former President Trump is making his own allegations, saying, quote, Pennsylvania is cheating and getting caught at large-scale levels. Well, the state's top election official, also a Republican, says the claims spreading online either lack context or are just outright lies. Some political analysts are reminded of the 2020 election cycle. Remember, courts tossed out dozens of lawsuits from the Trump campaign that claimed voter fraud. And 4 years later, they believe the Trump team is laying the legal groundwork now to make similar challenges if Vice President Harris wins in a close race. For now, though, both Republican and Democratic officials in Pennsylvania say the election will be secure and safe. The question of safety has been coming up a lot, too, and not just in Pennsylvania. Cities across the U.S. have been beefing up security at polling places in the face of more threats, and some actual violence against election workers. Justice Department employees are also worried about threats, and this week, 2,000 of them sent a letter to leadership saying more needs to be done to protect staff from political violence. For now, the DOJ just says it's reviewing the recommendations. The newest numbers are out, and they show inflation is down again, closer to the government's target than it's been in years. The Commerce Department's latest data shows inflation at 2.1% for September, just above the Federal Reserve's 2% goal and the lowest it's been since February 2021. That said, prices of goods themselves are still pretty high. They're just not going up as quickly as they have been in recent years. This is the last major inflation report before the election and before the Fed meets next week to decide on further rate cuts. It's that time of year now where you can sign up for health insurance coverage through the Affordable Care Act plans, aka Obamacare. Enrollment starts today. One of the biggest changes this year is that so-called dreamers will be able to sign up. That is, as long as a court doesn't stop them. Remember, dreamers are the unauthorized immigrants who came to the U.S. as children and have been allowed to live and work in the U.S. legally. Well, the Biden administration finalized a rule earlier this year that also allows participants in the program to get health insurance through the ACA. But several states are challenging the rule in court. So at this point, dreamers can still sign up for health care as long as the lawsuits are pending, though it's not clear if a ruling will come during this open enrollment period. And uncertainty about the election hangs over this year's enrollment period as well, as many Republicans, including former President Trump, have promised major changes to the program if they're elected. 21 million people currently get coverage through the ACA, and the Biden administration has generally expanded access to the plans and increased subsidies that lower premiums for people who are on them. People have until December 15th to sign up for coverage through the ACA that starts in the new year, and open enrollment continues through January 15th in most states. We have much more news for you still ahead, but first, thanks to our sponsor. Whether you're a bride like our producer Emily, who chose Honeylove on her wedding day, or a guest like me who chooses Honeylove for every special event now, or you're just looking for extra confidence in an everyday fit, Honeylove is your go-to for all things shapewear. The Superpower short, for example, smooths shapes and lifts, giving you a flawless silhouette under any outfit. And it never rolls down or up. I also love the design of Honeylove's shapewear, so I don't feel frumpy, and the fabric is breathable too. Plus, Honeylove is just as easy to put on as it is to take off. Shapewear does not need to be hard. Their products make you look good and feel good. Whether it's for a wedding, event, or an everyday boost of confidence, Honeylove is the perfect plus one. Treat yourself to the best bras, shapewear, and more on the market and save 20% off at honeylove.com/newsworthy. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off at honeylove.com/newsworthy. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, so please support our show and tell them we sent you. Say yes to everyday adventure with Honeylove. Now back to the news. There are far fewer triplets and quadruplets being born now compared to the 1980s and 90s, mostly because of major advancements with in vitro fertilization, or IVF. The CDC found triplet numbers have declined by more than 60% since 1998, and higher order multiple births, that is, more than 3 kids born at once, have also gone down. Doctors say part of the explanation is that women going through IVF are less likely to have several embryos implanted at once due to changing guidelines and technological advances as IVF has become more popular. Even though transferring more embryos increases the chance of a viable pregnancy, carrying triplets or more comes with risks to the mother and her children. That said, while most doctors agree IVF advances have something to do with this triplet decline, the CDC's report doesn't distinguish between triplets conceived through IVF versus natural conception. And on the other hand, triplet births are actually up among Black women. But overall, the reduction in triplets, quadruplets, and higher generally means better health outcomes for both mothers and children. ChatGPT just launched its own internet search capabilities, putting it and its parent company, OpenAI, in direct competition with Google's dominance of internet search. ChatGPT's search function will actually be part of its current interface, meaning there's not a separate site or application for searching the web with the chatbot. Instead, it will now incorporate real-time results into its answers and will automatically detect when web results are appropriate responses. Users can also manually request the search feature. This new function is only available to paid users for now, but it will roll out to others in the coming weeks. Google has already integrated its own AI technology into its search engine, most notably with AI overviews. They try to give users straightforward answers to their questions in search. Microsoft and other AI startups have also introduced their own search tools, but ChatGPT is the most prominent of the newer AI products to get into the search game. Los Angeles will hold a victory parade today to celebrate the Dodgers winning the World Series. But the celebrations actually started in the seconds following their win over the New York Yankees Wednesday night. LA's mayor said most of the impromptu celebrations in the immediate aftermath of the Dodgers' victory were joyful and peaceful. But there were also some chaotic moments. Fans burned a city bus, some thefts were reported, and ultimately a dozen people were arrested. Police also had to disperse crowds that had taken over streets. As for the planned-out celebrations for today, it'll be the first Dodgers World Series parade since 1988. The last time the team won the championship in 2020, COVID precautions meant there was no parade or official public celebration. So many fans and players feel like this year celebrates 2 titles. The parade starts at 11 a.m. and will finish at Dodger Stadium, where the party will continue with a ticketed event for fans. Today is part of Dia de los Muertos, also known as Day of the Dead. The annual Mexican holiday is when people honor and celebrate the lives and memories of their loved ones who have passed away. They sometimes create elaborate altars to commemorate them. They also gather to tell stories and eat and drink. Festivals and parades are put together in Mexico, throughout the U.S. and beyond, where people paint beautiful skulls on their faces or on ceramics. It's one of the most important celebrations in Mexico, although it's also celebrated by people around the world. You may get the chance for an extra hour of sleep this Sunday. Daylight saving time comes to an end Sunday morning, and our clocks fall back. Clocks in the U.S., with a few exceptions like Hawaii and most of Arizona, will be set back 1 hour at 2 a.m. on Sunday. And that means the sun will come out earlier in the morning, and evenings will be darker sooner. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Feel Good Friday, when we bring you one extra feel-good or positive news story before the weekend. But first, a quick break to thank our sponsor. Are you ready to better understand your unique body and how it works? How to optimize its function? Lumen is the world's first handheld metabolic coach. It measures your unique metabolism, and it's as easy as breathing into the device. After just about a week, it understands your body's metabolism and gives you personalized guidance to improve your nutrition and workouts, to promote fat burn, lose weight, and or just boost your energy naturally. Lumen can even help support sleep and stress management. Your metabolism is your body's engine. It's how your body turns the food you eat into fuel that keeps you going. Because your metabolism is at the center of everything your body does, optimal metabolic health translates to a bunch of benefits. For women, it can even track your cycle and adjust your recommendations to keep your metabolism healthy through hormonal shifts. So if you want to take the next step in improving your health, go to lumen.me/newsworthy to get 15% off your Lumen. That's lumen.me/newsworthy for 15% off your purchase. Thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring this episode. Okay, now back to Feel Good Friday. One U.S. Olympian is trying to make it easier for everyone, including parents, to vote this election. Allison Felix is the most decorated track and field athlete in American Olympic history, with 11 medals to her name. Well, now, since one major barrier to voting is not having childcare, Felix is partnering with Chamber of Mothers to offer free childcare to moms who want to vote. North Carolina residents are now able to submit childcare expenses via a Google Doc that will be fully reimbursed. There will also be a drop-in site where mothers can leave their kids under professional supervision while the moms go vote. In a statement, Felix said people should not have to choose between motherhood and voting. Making sure working moms have the resources they need to succeed has been a passion for Felix for a while. She helped set up the first Olympic Village nursery in Paris this summer, so athlete moms didn't have to worry about paying for childcare while they competed. And now Felix continues to make sure there's an even playing field when it comes to voting, too. Well, thank you so much for listening. We will be back tomorrow with our special edition Saturday episode. And because we know a lot of people are feeling stressed out just days away from Election Day, we are talking with former news anchor Dan Harris, who turned his life around after a live on-the-air panic attack. He's sharing the strategies he uses now to live a little better, even during these divisive political moments and beyond. Then we'll be back on Monday for another news roundup. For now, thank you so much again for listening and have a great weekend.